important parts of LinkedIn. And, to be honest, you could sit through like a 2-day boot camp and you wouldn't learn everything. My intention today is to really walk you through the things you do need to understand to obviously run your insurance business and to be stronger with that. So what we're going to do is first we're going to talk about really setting up your profile so you can actually get results from that profile. Then we're going to talk about connecting with people, which is probably where a lot of questions are going to come in. We'll talk about how to connect with people, what the strategy is, and then most importantly, what to do once you've connected with people. And then finally, we'll talk about using LinkedIn's marketing tools and actually using LinkedIn to generate leads, to update and educate your clients, and to just be proactive with it. And I think, just to kind of give you my synopsis overview, I think that's where a lot of people kind of go wrong. They only see LinkedIn as kind of one-dimensional. They say, hey, it's kind of like a resume. I go on there, I set up my resume, and then what's supposed to happen, right? I think that's where most people kind of get overwhelmed or they get confused. They don't know what to do next. And what I'm going to try to incorporate into today's training is to really just walk you through how to think more like an entrepreneur and think about how to use LinkedIn kind of on that second and third level that a lot of people never really realized even existed. So let's kind of start off and talk about the actual setup of the profile. And like I said, as I get finished with each section, I will absolutely take questions. So you kind of have two options. Option one is definitely feel free to write your questions on the GoToMeeting toolbar. You can type them up, and I will certainly answer them at the question time. Or you can, at that point, raise your hand, and I'll give you the floor, and you can certainly ask your question, and that's certainly no problem. So I think where I see most people struggling with LinkedIn is they tend to have a profile, and we're looking at my profile right now. They tend to kind of go in, they put in the standard 20 minutes to their profile. There's not much thought process on really what they're doing other than, filling in a lot of the basic boxes, and that's it. That's where they end. And what I want to get you guys thinking about when we're talking about profile setup is actually thinking about the ramifications of how you set up your profile. People say, well, what does that mean? Well, what that means is if you want to really utilize the next step, like if you really want to utilize the marketing aspect of LinkedIn, then your profile has to be set up to kind of harness the traffic you're going to generate. So let me just kind of explain that in another way. Most people who come to me say, Ken, I want to get leads with LinkedIn. That's what I want to do. I want to get leads. I want to grow my business. That's all I'm concerned about. And I go and I look at their profile, and it's just not set up professionally. So my point is there's no way you're going to be able to generate leads with LinkedIn if your profile hasn't been written and set up to actually generate those leads. And I think once you start to understand that and say, oh, you mean I need to strategically set up my profile so that if I market it and people come to my profile, then that profile is going to funnel these people to where I want to funnel them. Okay? So that's kind of where we're going here for the next half hour. I think just as an overview, a lot of people say, why do I even need to use LinkedIn? What's really the purpose of it? And the easy answer is, if people go and they Google you, it's most likely going to be the first thing, the first thing that comes up. So if I go onto Google right now and I just type in my name, Ken French Jr., what is the first thing that comes up? It's not maybe the first thing, but it is on the first page. It's the third thing. Boom, there's my LinkedIn profile. So that's kind of like the first thing I always suggest to people is if you get a chance, go Google yourself and see where your LinkedIn profile comes up. I guess what I mean is I often talk to people and I'll say, they'll come to me and they'll say, look, we're struggling to get leads, we're struggling to market, and the first question I'll say is, well, how are you doing with social media? How are you doing with LinkedIn? And they'll say, well, no, I don't even use it. I don't even have it. And I'll go on and I'll Google them, and within 2 seconds I find their profile, and their profile is very poorly done, looks very unprofessional. And the first thing I think about is do these guys even realize how many people are finding this unprofessional profile and holding it against them, right? So that's got to be the first thing you have to understand. When you create a LinkedIn profile, it is going to get found. And I think more and more people now think of LinkedIn as like an online resume. And I know for a fact that when I talk to people, I can see it all the time. They immediately kind of look at my profile. I see it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I can see that they're going and looking at my profile. And I'll teach you this in a few minutes, that if you go on to LinkedIn, there's a little button that says profile. Who's viewed your profile? And, you know, you can just kind of scroll down and see all the people looking at it. I see it time and time again where people will call me up, they'll talk to me, and then that night they're viewing my profile. So you have to get in the mindset right off the bat that, hey, if I'm going to have a LinkedIn profile, I got to really make sure I understand that people are finding it, whether I realize it or not, whether I'm marketing it or not, and I got to do a better job at making sure that if they are finding my profile, that my profile is set up to convert those people into feeling good about me and obviously wanting to do business with me. You know, so that's kind of the first aspect, understanding that it really is a virtual resume. The second thing, and we're going to talk about this later on, is LinkedIn is truly a database. And every person you're connecting with, they are now kind of going into your database. You have the ability to utilize and to actually communicate with them. And most importantly, organize them into different sections, and then eventually, obviously, use LinkedIn's marketing tools to really generate something from them. And then finally, you know, like I said, we'll talk at the end about the ability to join different groups, the ability to create a company page. And there's all sorts of levels with LinkedIn. I just want to get you guys understanding that there's kind of the three basics. One, the profile's got to be set up correctly if you're going to get any results. Two, you got to have connections, and you got to have your connections organized so that you can then use the marketing tools. So let's talk about really, you know, the keys to setting up this profile. And, you know, let's kind of quickly look at my profile. And, you know, I don't want to sit here all day and refer to the PowerPoint. I really want to kind of try to go in and teach you guys what to do. But I think, you know, right off the bat, you have to understand that you want to do a good job at completing your profile. And LinkedIn tries to offer all sorts of, we'll call them widgets or, you know, wizards to try to tell you what you need to complete. But at the end of the day, you guys should all have all-star profiles. You see how mine says all-star? The only reason it says I'm an all-star is because I have it completed. You know, I've kind of done everything that they give me to do. And I think there's no reason that you guys shouldn't have a profile that says all-star. So let's kind of go through the things I want to see you guys updating and how I want them set up. And then I think you'll definitely be better off. So the first thing you have to have, and in my opinion there's absolutely no exception, is you need to have a photo on your profile. And for whatever reason, especially in the insurance industry, I get a lot of fight about this. No, I don't want my photo shown. Impossible. I don't want this. I don't want that. And the thing I think about as a consumer, and, you know, I think this is becoming more and more prevalent, is the consumer thinks everything is a scam. You know, and it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the industry. It's just the world we live in. People have been scammed time and time again, right? Whether it's an email scam, a phone scam, scams are everywhere. So right off the bat, people have in the back of their mind, is this legitimate? The second thing that people have in the back of their mind is this being outsourced to another country? You know, when I'm calling somebody, am I talking to somebody in, you know, Dallas, Texas, or am I talking to someone in Bombay, India, right? So, again, my main focus is really website design, and these are the things I try to work on with my clients. I try to explain to them, you have to understand, it's nothing about you. It's the perception of the consumer. So anything we can do to come across as real, to come across as local, to come across as legitimate, we have to do that, and it's going to help us. So with the LinkedIn profile, you really want to have your picture here. You want to have a picture that's updated, that looks professional, and that isn't your logo. Now, I assume that most of you guys can probably figure out how to put a picture in. If you just put your mouse over the picture and click Change Photo, they do a pretty good job at kind of just letting you upload it from your computer. So I don't want to waste too much time with that. I want to spend more time with strategy. But my point is you absolutely want to have a photo on your profile. The next thing you want to do, and this is where some pretty good tips are going to come into play, is you want to make sure that the contact information on your profile is complete. So let me just kind of, I may have clicked through that very quickly. All I'm doing is I'm clicking on Edit Profile, and I'm now clicking on the contact information. And obviously you want to have a phone number, and all you do to edit these things, guys, is to click on the pencil. So if I click on the pencil, you'll see that it kind of gives you a few options, but I would suggest typing in your agency number and selecting work and hitting save. Nobody's going to do a research project to find your phone number, and I guess where I'm going with it, guys, is again, I'm thinking three-dimensionally. I'm thinking that eventually you are going to use LinkedIn's marketing tools. You may send a few blast emails out to people. You may be doing all sorts of things that are going to create traffic for you. And though you may be sending people to your website or to a landing page, it's still likely they're going to come back to your profile and look at it. And my point is, why wouldn't you want to have your phone number on there? So, of course, you want to have your phone number on there. More importantly, you want to have your websites on here. And I'm pretty sure that most of you guys, and maybe I have an example up here of another gentleman here who's been generous enough to volunteer us kind of looking at his profile today. I wonder if he has it set up like this. No, he doesn't. Okay. Anyway, you want to have your website listed on here. And when you see my websites, you can see they say Snoozy Incorporated, Insurance Agent Technology, like us on Facebook. Okay, so if you're looking at your LinkedIn profiles right now, I'm betting that if you do have your website listed, it may be listed as company page. And if I click the pencil here, you're going to see that it kind of brings up these three boxes. And that's where I have my websites listed. But you will see that when you initially set up the website, it'll default it as company website. That's what I meant. So if you come in here and you click the drop-down arrow, instead of having it under company website, select other. When you select other, it gives you what I would call a title box. Okay? You'll see that title box right here. You want to, in that title box, put a descriptive term for the website. Now, to each his own. If you specialize in health insurance, maybe you want to just put health insurance experts. If it's something else, it's something else. But you definitely want to customize your website addresses. One, for search engine optimization, but two, so that you're going to get more clicks on there. Because if it says company website, people are going to have no idea what you do. And again, it's all about the clicks. Everyone comes to me, they say, how do I get more people to my website? Well, it's about the little things that, that get that traffic. And the little things start with things like that. Having things labeled, it'll get you more clicks. Now, you can see I've put my Facebook business page on there. LinkedIn gives you 3 boxes for 3 websites. I suggest you use them. So there's no harm in putting your agency website, putting your Facebook page, maybe putting a link to your blog or something like that. Definitely a good idea. I definitely suggest doing it. So those are kind of some basics when we're talking about the contact information. The other thing you want to make sure you do is set up what they call a customized LinkedIn address. So you can see that I actually have one set up right here. It's at the bottom. And, mine is just linkedin.com/in/Ken J. French. And, people always ask me, well, what should I make my address? What's the strategy? And I think the strategy is that you probably want to make the address your name, so that if people are searching for you on Google, that it'll make it easier for them to find you. Now, Ken French, how many Ken Frenches are there in the world? I don't know. There's definitely other ones because people ask me all the time. But there's not as many as there are Tom Smiths. So if your name is more common, you may want to be a little bit more creative. You may want to put your agency name. But I think my point is the reason you're going to set up a custom address is to certainly get more clicks and to get people finding you if they're struggling to find you. So all you have to do to edit that, guys, is go in here and click the pencil next to it. Again, the pencils are the key. If you click the pencils, you can certainly edit it. And you'll go in here, and it's a little weird with this. And over on the right here, you'll see it. It's called the public profile. So I clicked the pencil, and a new screen came up. And now I'm just going here, and I'm sorry, I'm unclicking the highlighter. Clicking the pencil, and it lets me change the address to really anything I want. Now, if you guys remember back with Facebook, Facebook would only let you update it once, and then you were stuck with it. LinkedIn is lenient. You can change it as many times as you want, so you may want to kind of play around with it a few times, but you certainly can change it as much as you want. So that's that has to do with our contact information, and I highly suggest that I highly suggest that you have the contact information complete because you never know who's going to be on there, and boom, next thing you know, they're dialing your phone number. The next thing, which is probably the most important part of the entire profile, is the summary section. So what you're looking at right now is kind of my public profile, and this is what people see when they come to it. But here's my summary, okay? And, I always, especially with insurance agents, I feel like they all have the same profile, the same summary. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the summary that they have. I'm just saying that it all seems to sound the same to someone like myself. And here's an example. Here's what I always see on insurance agents' summaries. Bob's Insurance is a full-service insurance agency in Dallas, Texas. We offer health, life, personal, and commercial insurance, and offer the best customer service you can imagine. I feel like I see that for everybody. Is there anything wrong with it? No, there's nothing wrong with it. But on the flip side, you have to go back to the first thing I said when I talked about the first aspect of LinkedIn. The first aspect of LinkedIn is to design your profile so that if you are getting traffic to it, that traffic is going to be, a high percentage of that traffic is going to be converted into a lead. So when you have your summary, that's what people are going to read. That's what people are going to use to kind of say, that's what they're going to typecast you with, okay? So, it's funny, and I'm sorry, guys, I got to drink a little water. When I would, if I was to ask, that agency in Dallas, I'd say, hey, you guys are a full-service shop, huh? You're making 25% of your commissions from each section, right? They'd say, oh, no, absolutely not. We're not making 25% from each section. Actually, 68% of our business is personal insurance. 25% of our business is commercial insurance. 7% is life insurance, and 2% is health insurance. And it's kind of like, well, you guys kind of projected yourself to be gurus at all four. So my point is if that agency in Dallas was to think about it, and if I was there to recommend it to them and they were doing marketing, they would probably change their summary to say, hey, we're a local Dallas insurance agency that specializes in risk management solutions for local Dallas restaurants. Because, after talking to them, this is what I found out is their niche and how they make all their money. You know what I'm saying? So my point is with the summary section, and I've kind of outlined it really well here in this slide. Let me kind of go back to it, is that you really should write up something that hits 3 points. It should include who you help, how you help them, and how they can request your help. Okay, so most people think that their summary needs to be really long to be good. No, that's not the case. Your summary needs to be 2 or 3 or 4 sentences. And again, it should just kind of tell people, who you help. So that means, like, what do you specialize in? I know you sell insurance. I know you can sell every product there is. Great. We're now, forget about that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about marketing. We're talking about you're using this profile to get leads. If you're going to get leads, you got to come across as a guru, as a specialist. So what's your bread and butter? Is it employee benefits? Is it annuities? Is it life insurance? Your profile should tell these people that. Tell the people what you specialize in. Then tell them what makes you different. How are you going to help them? And then most importantly, let them know. Yeah, give me a call at this number or email me here for a free consultation. Put that stuff in there. Nobody's doing a research project to figure out how to call you. So, you know, if you kind of look at my profile again, I kind of have that in here. I kind of say, hey, look, Snoozy specifically helps insurance agents and accountants design websites and social media. Why are we unique? We're unique because, you know, we will redesign your site for no cost. How do you get in contact with us? Email us at contact@snoozy.com. So that's what I've tried to do, and I've gotten incredible amounts of results with it. It's not detailed, and, you know, we'll go into details here in a second because there's a whole nother level to your profile and being detailed. So if we look at my profile here, guys, one of the things you'll see I have is I have the summary section, but I also have a video section where people can actually watch videos on my services. So this is something that came out about 10 months ago on LinkedIn. And I guess my point is one of the problems I always have, especially with my accounting clients, you know, they're very, no offense to anyone who's an accountant on today's call, but obviously very meticulous and very detailed oriented. And they tend to want to write a lot of stuff, which is great, but from a marketing perspective, maybe not so good. So my point is that summary section, I told you, it should be like 2 to maybe 3 to 5 sentences is a good overview. It doesn't need to be 3 to 5 paragraphs. Nobody's reading that stuff. But my point is LinkedIn now has a little section under your summary where you can add videos, you can add PDFs, and you can add PowerPoints. So like let's say, you know, you kind of say, Ken, yeah, I understand what you're saying with the summary section. The 3 to 5 sentences are good, but, you know, and maybe this is good for like an employee benefit agency. You know, I hear this a lot. Hey, we focus on working with companies, 50 employees to 1,000 employees, and some of the things that we do are very complicated. We offer a lot of really good value-added services, and, you know, it's not easy to kind of get that out to people. So this is where that section could help. Maybe you do have like a 10-page PowerPoint presentation that goes through it all. Maybe you have a video that walks the people through why you're unique and what the value-added services are. Well, that's where you put it here. And that's kind of what I've done. I've created a few like 6 to 10-minute videos that review our social media posting service, our website design service, and that's good for the guy who, you know, he reads it, he says, okay, I kind of get it, but he needs something visual to really get to the next level of what we do. So to edit the summary section, obviously there's a little pencil here, right? You click on it, you change the text. To put some videos in, you need to click on this little double arrow thing right here. And if you click on this, what you can do is you'll see that it kind of gives you an upload button. So if you're going to upload, you're going to either upload the PDF, right, with the PowerPoint, or if you have a YouTube video, you can type in the YouTube address of that video right here, and then it'll populate it and pull up the screen. It's really pretty cool. I actually get a lot of hits on that, and it's a place I like to refer people to. People will call me up. They'll say, hey, I'm a little confused on how your services work. And I'll say, oh, you know what? Just go to my LinkedIn profile. And I do that intentionally. I send them to my LinkedIn profile because I know my LinkedIn profile has been designed to convert them into a sale. They can go, they can learn a little bit more about me, they can learn a little bit more about my background, all my achievements, they can see all my testimonials from my clients. I mean, the thing is designed to make people feel good about me. You know, so you see what I'm saying, guys? It becomes a sales tool. You just have to have it set up correctly to work like that, and obviously refer to it and utilize it. But that's one of the things I often do. So the videos can be an excellent addition to the profile. The next thing you want to have set up is the skills section. And this is where I bet most of you guys are kind of struggling a little bit. So if I scroll down, and this is a new section, if I scroll down to my skills and endorsements section here, guys, you're going to see I only have 4 skills listed, okay? And what I find is that the average person has like 30 skills. And the reason is that LinkedIn lets you write up to 50 skills. But let me kind of cut through all the garbage and kind of give you what you need to do. Really, the whole point of this skills section is not for you to type all these words that you're good at. Really, the whole point of it is to get people to endorse you, to come to your profile, and to click on these words and endorse you. So you can see here I got social media marketing. And if I click on this arrow, I can see that 247 people have endorsed me for it, okay? And, you know, I can go through each one, and, you know, I have over 200 for each one. So what the goal really is to have some terms here and to get people to endorse you. Because when people come to your profile, one, it's like, oh, my God, this guy's got 300 people who've endorsed him for employee benefits. 300 physical different people clicked on this. He must be pretty good at it. So I guess where I'm going is if you look at my skills, you can see 99 plus, 99 plus, 99 plus, 99 plus. Basically what that means is 99 plus people for each skill have endorsed me. That's the goal, is to get it to 99 plus. That means over 100. If you have 20 skills listed here, nobody is going to sit here and click on all 20. You know what I'm saying? What happens is people go to your profile, and they don't really know how it. Some people know how it works, others don't, but they end up clicking on the skill, right? And the way you get 99 plus is having just 3 to 5 skills, because then people are much more likely to click on all 4 at once, because it takes 1 second. If you have 20 skills, nobody is going to sit there and click on all 20. It takes too long, even though it may only take 30 seconds. So the point of the strategy here, and this is kind of the first part of real strategy I've given you so far, is you want to have 3 skills listed. Don't want to have 50 skills listed. You want to have 3. So go into this section, click on the Add Skill button, and you can remove. If you have like 20 skills listed right now, go in there and you can click the X to remove them. And you can certainly add them by typing. So the next common question is, well, what type of skills should I have? Like, how do I know what words I should type in? Well, my suggestion is what you want to do is you want to have 2 skills that are very detailed and 2 skills that are very broad. So an example, let's say you're an agency that is, say you're a health insurance agency, okay? My suggestion would be your skills are something like this: healthcare reform expert. There's 1 skill. That's detailed. You know, maybe HSA, health savings, health savings account expert. There's 2. Those are your 2 detailed ones. And then your broad ones are maybe customer service and just health insurance. You know what I'm saying? So you want to have 2 broad, 2 detailed. That's what I would suggest. And you don't have to have 4. I would suggest kind of between 3 and 5. And I did put a few examples here for, I guess, some commercial insurance. You know, the commercial ones I had kind of business liability expert, risk management, customer service, insurance expert. You want to have a good balance between the 2. But again, the whole point is to get as many people endorsing you as possible, because 1, if you can get a lot of endorsements, it just looks good. People are going to you. I mean, think about it, guys. Think about it logically. Imagine you're a business owner, and man, you just got your renewal, and it's 75%, and you're just going crazy. You got 20 employees, and then all of a sudden, the next day, you get a marketing message from this guy you're connected to on LinkedIn. That guy's you, okay? You're an employee benefits broker, and yesterday you sent out a special LinkedIn message, which I'm going to teach you how to do later, to all your business owner connections. You don't really know this guy, but you're connected to him. And you say, hey, are you frustrated by high renewal rates? Is your current broker helping you save money? Is your current broker helping you understand what's going on with healthcare reform and taxes? And as the business owner, finally you're like, oh, man, let me take a deeper look at who this guy is. Now he's on your profile, and he's taking a look at your profile. And he goes to your profile, and he sees your term. He sees your endorsements, right? And you got 25 endorsements, 25 terms in the endorsements. One is healthcare reform, and you got 2 people that have endorsed you. And then you got, you got cost saving expert. You got 4 people who've endorsed you. The guy's now thinking, this guy's just a solicitor. Forget him. But if he comes to your profile and sees that you have 4 terms, and one of them is healthcare reform expert, and you got 250 people that have endorsed you, he's gonna be like, this guy's a genius. Maybe I'm gonna call this guy up. And that's exactly the results I've gotten. I'm out there, I'm trying to market my services, and I'm in an industry where everyone promises everything. Website design, it's a brutal industry. Everyone promises you that they're going to get you on the first page of Google, blah, blah, blah. No one wants to listen to me. It's tough. It's tough to market. So all I can do is just project myself to at least know what I'm talking about. And I think when people come to my profile and they see the amount of people who have endorsed me, that immediately gives me some credibility. I think that's my point. I don't want to harp on it anymore, but to get there, you want to have 3 to 5 skills. The next thing that's really a nice piece that LinkedIn added it's been about 3 years now, is they now let you actually list some of your publications. So I don't know, maybe you guys have books, maybe you have written blogs, maybe you have gotten in the press, you're in the local paper. Well, there's a section now called publications. I personally have written a few articles for a few publications. I have my own blog, of course, and you'll see here I have, I have my publications. So I'm not going to take 10 hours going through this, but all you have to do is click on the Add Publication. You can put the title, you put who published it, and I assume if you have a blog or if you were published in the New York Times, you're going to have some sort of link to that, and you can just put that link right in, and it links right to it, and obviously people can go and read your publications. It brings more credibility. I think it's really good, and it gets more traffic to those pages. So I would highly suggest putting that on there if you have time. So I just want to go through a few other quick little things here, and then we'll take some questions here in about a minute. But I think just to kind of give the overview, you want to make sure that the profile looks aesthetically pleasing. You got to have your picture. You got to have your contact information. You got to have a good summary. You do want, I didn't really harp on this, but I suggest it. You want to make sure you list where you used to work, where you went to school, because what happens there, guys, and you can kind of see sorry guys, I'm just trying to get out of edit mode real quick here. At the end of the day, if you put in where you went to school and where you used to work, your profile is going to show up on more people's profiles. So if I click on like the home button, you'll see up in the upper right here, LinkedIn kind of says, oh, he must know these people, right? The reason LinkedIn is showing me those people, it's either A, the amount of connections I have that are similar, or B, maybe I worked with them or went to school with them. So really, you want to make sure that when you do fill out your profile, that you do put where you used to work, where you went to school. Take the time, put the years you graduated, put the years you used to work there. In the end, that's going to get your profile in front of more people. And I think that's what you guys are after. You're after more traffic. It's the most common question I get. How do I get more people to my website? How do I get more people to my social media presence? The simple answer, it really is very simple. Make sure you take the time, and it really shouldn't take you more than 30 minutes to complete your whole profile. Take the time to fill out everything, where you went to school, where you used to work, And in the end, it's going to get more people to your profile. And if it goes back to the first thing I said, if your profile is set up correctly and it truly explains to people who you help, how you can help them, then you're going to get more leads. You're going to get more traffic to your main website. So, the other final thing, which I didn't touch on, is LinkedIn does allow people to write recommendations about you. And you'll see I have, dozens of them. There are ways to request these things. They're actually called endorsements. I'll go through that a little bit later. But one of the things I recommend, especially early on, is, if you go to some people that have been, there's always people in everyone's lives who are clients. You're their client, and they're your client. So sometimes the best way to get some endorsements, if you don't have any, is go find one of those people, write a nice endorsement for them, and usually they return the favor. Endorsements are a great thing. If somebody writes an endorsement, it doesn't automatically get put on your profile. One, you do have to approve it. So don't worry. If they write something horrible, which I'm sure they're not, but if they did, you can reject it. But if you do accept it, it goes out to all of your connections. And that's a powerful thing. I mean, every time I get an endorsement, I'm so happy because I know it's going to get me 1 or 2 clients. So you want to consider that as well moving forward. So let me start to answer some of these questions here. And like I said, if you guys, I see a few have been written in. I'm going to read them and I'm going to answer them here in a second. If anyone does want to ask a verbal question, no problem. I'll certainly put you on speaker here and you can talk. If you want to be shy and just write them, you can type them up as well. If you do want to ask them, just click the raise hand button, and I'll put you on here in a second. So first question here is, is it better to create a personal LinkedIn page and to drive results and connect with as many people as you can, or is it better to create a company page? And this is actually a really good question. And I don't know if there's really a right answer, but I'm going to try to explain it as best I can. Right off the bat, my first thought is you have to have a personal LinkedIn page. Even if you're an entrepreneur, even if you're the business owner, you want to have a company, you want to have a personal LinkedIn page because the personal LinkedIn page allows you to proactively connect with people. It allows you to, and we're going to go through this in a little bit, how you can upload your email addresses. Basically, you can find people and connect with them. And most importantly, and we'll talk about this at the end, you can utilize LinkedIn's marketing tools, okay? With the company page, it really has nothing to do with the individual. The company page, and we will talk about the company page at the end here. I mean, I will give about 15 minutes to it. The company page is kind of a totally different animal than the personal page. It has different features, the best way to put it. And one of the features, it really doesn't let you proactively connect with people. It doesn't let you send mass messages out to people. In the end, it's kind of just a branding thing. So I think to cut through all the garbage, I feel like I'm rambling on. To just give you the answer you're looking for, you really want to have a personal page and you want to put time into it. But you also want to have a basic company page that is branded and set up as well. Because if people are searching for your company, they could find that company page as well on Google. And it is important for search engine optimization. So short answer, have both of them. Make sure they both look good. But I think the day-to-day focus, where you put your time, the day-to-day focus should be on the personal page, connecting with people, organizing those connections, and then on a quarterly basis, potentially marketing and sending out messages to those connections. All right, next question. If you have multiple offices, do you recommend sharing the same information on each of their pages? So I guess you're talking about the company page, and we'll go through that in a little bit, but I believe on the company page, you can absolutely list different locations. If you have different agencies with different agency names. Now you're talking about different branding. You probably would want to have you probably would want to have different pages for different branding. Let's rehash that a little bit when we start to talk about the company page. Okay, I'm getting more information here, guys. Okay, so the question was, we have a vice president and we have a president. So should they have the same information on their personal LinkedIn pages? Well, that's a good question. I think the answer is they can certainly have the same summary about the agency. Absolutely, that's no problem. But of course, they're probably going to have, and maybe their skills are similar, right? But I think they're going to have different information, obviously, about themselves, where they went to school. You know, obviously one guy's the president, one guy's the vice president. They started at different times, maybe. So I think that's probably what you're asking is, you know, should the basic agency information be the same? Yeah, it's okay if it's the same. No problem. The skills, the summary, that's fine. Because whatever you're coming up with should be, you know, it's going to be pretty good, and it definitely works for anyone working at the company. Anyway, okay, so I think I kind of satisfied those questions. What I want to do now is I want to kind of transition, and it's going to get a little bit more complicated because now we're going to talk about connections. And this is really, so just to kind of rewind, I feel like in my mind, and I hate to say this, but I do, I typecast LinkedIn users. And in my mind, there's 3 levels. There's beginner, there's intermediate, and there's expert. The beginner, he has what I just talked about, okay? He may have nothing on his profile. He may have the greatest written profile ever, but it still means he's a beginner unless he's gotten to this part of the program, which is the connecting aspect, okay? So to get to level 2, you got to master what I'm about to talk about for the next 15 to 20 minutes, which is the database aspect of LinkedIn. So what I just talked about was, hey, if you ever want to have any chance of getting results on LinkedIn, you got to have your profile set up correctly. Because even if you were the greatest marketing mastermind ever, if your profile wasn't set up to generate results, if people found it, nothing would happen. So to get to the point where you can use LinkedIn's marketing tools, you got to have the database. You got to have the connections, and you got to have it all organized. And that's what I'm going to talk about now. So the most common question I ever get on LinkedIn, here it is, guys. Here's the question. Here's the answer. Who should I connect with on LinkedIn? I get this question every day. Should I connect with competitors? Should I connect with those crazy carrier people? Who should I connect with? Well, the answer is a very simple answer. You want to connect with everybody, okay? And common myth is that, hey, if I connect with people, can they see my connections? Can they see my clients? The answer is no, they can't. So there's really no harm in connecting with people. The reason you want to connect with them is because you can then message them and send marketing things to them. So that's the value of connecting. If you haven't connected with anybody, you don't have the ability to use the marketing tools. And again, we'll talk about that last. It's kind of the best part of the whole deal. So how do you get more connections? Where does it start? Where do we go? You know, and that's kind of what I want to go over. I have about 4,000 connections, okay? People always say, how do I get 4,000 connections? I want 4,000 connections. Make no mistake, I've been using LinkedIn since 2004, okay? I didn't get those connections overnight. I probably average, you know, 500. Probably what I did was I got my first 1,500 connections in the first year. And then over the last 10 years, I've gotten 3,000 connections. And it's kind of been like 250 a year or 300 a year just by getting one a day, right? That's really what I do. I've gotten myself into the mindset that anytime I talk, let me rewind. I've gotten myself into the mindset that when someone calls me up that I don't know, hey, Ken, I was referred to you. I really need help with a new website. I need help with social media. How do you guys help insurance agents? Tell me more about you. So, you know, I'll talk to them casually, of course, and then usually get their email address. And I'll say, hey, can I send you more information? I have a little video you can watch. It walks you through the service. Yeah, that sounds great, Ken. Okay, so I get the guy's email address. That's what I'm after. That's what all you guys should value, getting email addresses. Their value is incredible. I get the guy's email address. I send him an email. Boom. You know, I send him the information I told him I would send him. Then what I do, and I do this every day, and I've done this every day for the last 9 years, is I go into LinkedIn. I click on Connections. I click on Add Connections. And there's a little button here in the upper right-hand corner. And by the way, guys, LinkedIn couldn't hide this anymore. There's a little button that says Any Email, okay? So what you want to do is you want to click on the Any Email button. And down here at the bottom, it says Invite by Individual Email. Again, LinkedIn couldn't make it any harder to do this. But here's the link. So if you come in and click on this, what it lets you do is type in that guy's email address. So one of the things I've just become very disciplined, that every time I get an email address, I go in here and I just put it in, and I hit Send Invitation. So what I've just done, guys, is I've just done what I call a virtual handshake, okay? I just talked to somebody. They called me up. Obviously, the phone call went pretty well. It was an amicable, conversation. I sent them a little bit more information that they requested. And then what I did is I went into LinkedIn, and immediately, this is within 10 minutes of talking to them on the phone, I got their email address, and I sent them a request to connect with me. So now here's what I think is going to play out. They are now going to get another email from LinkedIn that says, hey, Ken French wants to connect with you on LinkedIn. Ken French, he's the guy I just talked to on the phone. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'm interested in his product anyway. Now the guy clicks and he connects with me. Now he's on my profile, and he's looking at my profile, and he sees that 300 people have recommended me for social media help. 300 guys have recommended this guy. He must be good. So my point is it's part of my sales tactic. It's part of my strategy. Now, if that guy calls me back and says, I want to do business, fantastic. If the guy doesn't and he disappears, that's okay. He's disappearing, but now I'm connected to him on LinkedIn. And I'll get him again in 6 months, or I'll get him again in 12 months, because I'm going to send out maybe free tips on how to improve social media, or maybe I'll send out a mass marketing message about a demo I'm going to do. I'll get the guy, trust me. So it all comes down to making sure you're connecting with people and that you're building up this database of people so that you can influence them later on. So what I just kind of showed you was how to individually invite somebody to connect. And again, I think I have this in. I'm going to send everyone this PowerPoint. Well, I don't have exact instructions here, but my point is all you have to do is click on Connections and click on Add Connections. Click on the Any Email button, and then under here, click Invite by Individual Email. Copy and paste the guy's email in or type it in. So that's one way. That's kind of what I call the day-to-day drudgery. You should get in the habit of trying to put people you're talking to in there and connecting with them. But if you really have never taken all your email addresses, what you should do is you should do what I call an upload of all your emails. So let's go back again. So let's say you're here, you click on Connections, and you click Add Connections. What LinkedIn lets you do is they let you do like a mass email upload, where you can take all your email addresses and import them in to LinkedIn. Once you import them in, you then have the ability to go through and select the people who you want to connect with. And it'll send, maybe it'll send 500 people an invite to connect. Like I said, when I first started on LinkedIn, I got my first 1,500 people that way. I had about 4,000 email addresses of clients. I uploaded them all in. It doesn't happen overnight. Some people take like a month to accept it if they don't use LinkedIn that much, but they will eventually. And again, I just started to grow and go that way. So LinkedIn, and this is important, guys. If you haven't done this, listen, really focus on this part, because this is one of those things that can suck your time, and you can screw up and be spending hours. And I've kind of been there, and I'm going to try to give you some advice on how to stay away from that. So you kind of have two options when it comes to uploading. Either A, you use like Gmail or Hotmail or AOL, LinkedIn has created a few quick buttons here that you can just click on and then just log in with like your Gmail login. LinkedIn will automatically sync with that, and boom, it's done. Now, probably most of you guys don't have that. Maybe you do, but I doubt it. I'm guessing most of you guys have like a database or Microsoft Outlook and actually have, you know, a pretty legitimate database of connections. So what I would suggest, and you'll see here there is a button that says Outlook. I would not click on that, okay? Ken says no, don't click on Outlook. What I would do is I would go a different direction. I would actually go into Outlook, and unfortunately I don't have Outlook open here, but if you go into Outlook, you should be able to go into your connections, and there should be a button that says Export Connections, okay? And what you want to do is you want to export that list into an Excel spreadsheet. So basically you're putting all of your, and you may already have your email addresses in an Excel spreadsheet. That's great. But what you want to do is you want to upload your email addresses into an Excel spreadsheet. And then you want to click on this Upload Contact File and upload your Excel spreadsheet. So my history has been that I tried to use this Outlook button, and it took like 35 minutes to upload, and then nothing happened. And man, was I mad, because I sat there for like an hour. When I finally realized that I could just export it into Excel and then upload the Excel file, that took like 2 minutes, and it worked perfectly. So my point is that's what I would try to do, is if you don't use Gmail or AOL or Yahoo, and you have a lot of email addresses, get them into Excel. Now, in the Excel spreadsheet, you want to make sure that the only thing in there is the email addresses. You don't want the people's addresses or their names. You don't need any of that. Just have the email addresses. Then come in here, click any email, click Upload Contact File, and then obviously click click that Excel, the Upload button. Find the Excel spreadsheet and put it in there, and you know, it will let you upload the people. Now, once you upload, it's going to look like this, where you're going to be able to go through and you're going to say, okay, which people do I want to connect with? And you'll see that some people, and as I scroll down here, guys, here are all my emails, right? So some of the people have these little LinkedIn icons, and some people don't. What that means is this email address doesn't have a LinkedIn account, but this one does. So what I would suggest is just go and select the people that have the LinkedIn accounts, right? So I'm selecting them. You'll see that when I select them, they now show up over here. And then you can just click this button, and it'll send them an invite. Because one of the most common concerns I always get from people is, well, if I upload in my contact list, there may be some people I don't want to connect with. Can I control who gets an invite? Yeah, here's where you control them. You're going to upload that list in, then you're going to see this page. You're going to go through and select the people you want. And you know, you can do it little by little. You know, you can do just the people in A, just the people in B, and you know, it'll certainly probably be a pretty efficient process. So that's half the battle. Okay, you know, the first part of the battle is uploading in the connections. You know, and obviously doing the day-to-day things to be successful. To I'm sorry, I'm just reading the question. Okay, sorry. So my point is that's the first battle. Is you definitely want to make sure that you're doing the little things each day, that you're uploading, individual email addresses after you talk to people, and then obviously you want to make sure that initially you've gone into the bulk of your addresses and certainly gone through and uploaded those in. Now that's the easy part. The hard part is, what do you do once you have a new connection? Okay, and in my opinion, there's two things you want to be doing. One, and this is probably maybe the most creative thing I'll give you today. One of the things that I think you should be doing when you connect with somebody is actually sending them a message. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm going to talk about. The second thing I'm going to talk about, which is very complicated, it's probably the most complicated part of LinkedIn, is making sure that you tag that person and that you put them in an organized folder. So let's talk about the first part. Let's go through the scenario, okay? So you just uploaded your contact list, right? You hadn't done that before, but Ken taught you how, and you just uploaded your contact list, and you're sending out invitations to people. And what'll happen is if somebody does accept your connection, you're going to get a real email that says, oh, Karen Smith is now connected to you. Okay, so you're going to get a real email. Oh, Karen Smith, she's now connected to me. That's fantastic. And most people say, what do I do next? Okay, Karen's connected to me. I have no idea what to do, but it's great. I got another connection. That must be good. No, what you should be doing is you should be taking advantage of that. And you should be sending Karen kind of like a thanks for connecting message. Okay, and you should get in the habit of doing this. So the first thing I can just hear people in the background kind of going, this is going to take a lot of time. It really shouldn't take a lot of time, because what you should be doing is you should have a pre-written message that kind of quickly, that you should just have a pre-written message that you copy and paste to everybody you connect with. That's the layman's terms. You should get in the habit of it. So you should have this little message saved on your desktop, okay? Maybe on Microsoft Word. And there should be, like I said, a scenario. Karen Smith connects with you. You go to your desktop. You click on the Microsoft Word. You highlight this thing, right? And then, and I'll show you in a second how to send it. And then you should send it to Karen Smith. So that takes us to the next question. Well, what type of message should I have, Ken? You know, I don't want to come across as creepy. I don't want to come across as a solicitor. And all those are good points. But I think my point is that you just want to send a message to people so that they kind of say, wow, this guy knows how to use LinkedIn. I didn't even know you could do that. And more importantly, look, they're fast. They're responsive to what I'm doing. I connected with them, and immediately this person wrote me a message. They're pretty, they're pretty sharp. And I get compliments on that all the time. People are kind of like intrigued by my knowledge of LinkedIn and how I'm doing things that they never thought of to do. So I guess my point is the message should be really simple. And here's something that I just came up with that maybe is general to an insurance agent. I just said, look, I just wanted to thank you for connecting with me on LinkedIn. I specialize in working with business owners, helping them insure their businesses and personal property. Please let me know what you specialize in, and I'll try to refer people your way. I can be reached at ken@snoozy.com. So I think my point is with the pre-written message, the welcome, like the thanks for connecting message, you want to kind of use like an outside-the-box mentality. You don't want to really talk about yourself too much. They can go to your profile to see that. I think you want to kind of just say to them, look, I'm here, and I'm kind of here to help you. I'm here to, if we can, have an alliance and you refer people to me and I'll refer people to you, great. Who knows if anything will ever come of it, but at least you've kind of gone to a different level with this person. They will remember that. So what you want to do is, of course, save it on your desktop. You get that email, you've connected with somebody, you go, you copy it, and then you go back to LinkedIn, and all you want to do is click on connections, okay? And the simplest thing to do, and this is where we're going to get complicated. We're going to really start to talk here about organizing your connections. But there's two little tabs above your connections. Sort by recent conversation, filter all contacts. You need to kind of get comfortable with these two tabs, okay? So if you click on the sort by recent conversation and you click on new, what it's going to do is it's going to pull up all of your connections based on the order of connecting with them. So this guy, Larry Wilson, I just connected with him today. Okay? So he's it's going to pull him up in the order of you connecting. So that should let you know. And really what you can do as well, if you want, is you can send it to multiple people at once. You could do this on a weekly basis. But I think that the quicker you do it from when you connect, the better. So if you put a check mark next to Larry Wilson and click the message button, all you have to do is go to your pre-written message, boom, copy and paste, and then go into the message and hit paste, and then just maybe type thanks for connecting. and boom, hit send. And now your message is going to Larry. So this kind of transitions us into the kind of the third part of the presentation, and I'll take some questions here in a second. But now we're starting to think about using LinkedIn to proactively market to people, to actually send messages to them, and this becomes, again, this is the ultimate level of LinkedIn. A lot of people, even though they'd want to do it, like I said, they're not in a position to do it, or B, they don't even know how to do it. So before we can get to that point, we have to learn how to organize our connections, okay? Now, let me rewind. You certainly could figure out how to send the little intro message to anybody. You know, you didn't have to do too much, right? All you had to learn was, hey, okay, I just connected with somebody. All Ken said to do was go and click on this sort button and click sort by new. And you could quickly find the people you've recently connected with. And all you have to do is click the little message button under their name. And you can send them that little intro message. But here's the problem. The next level is sending out mass messages. Let's say you got 1,000 connections, okay? I bet most of you guys have almost 1,000 connections. Let's say you have 1,000 connections. And let's say you're a property and casualty agency. And of your connections, 600 are business owners because you're a commercial genius, and 400 are just individual people that you do the auto and the home with, okay? So imagine having the ability to go into your LinkedIn profile and to say, hey, I want to send out a message to all those business owners about a new service I have. And having the ability to go and select all 600 of those people very quickly and to send them a message immediately. That's the next level of LinkedIn, to be able to do that. The problem is most people have not taken the time to take each connection and put them into a folder. So where I'm going is that P&C guy, he should have folders called business owners, individual clients, right? He should have these folders, and he has to go through each connection and say, okay, this guy, Larry Wilson, he's a business owner. This Allison Lucan, she's an individual. John Sharp, he's a business owner. So once you put all these people into different folders, then you can send out the efficient mass message. If you haven't done that, you're in trouble. You're not going to be able to send out a mass message. And this is where most people burn out on LinkedIn, because they come to one of my trainings. They learn about, oh, my God, I can send out mass messages on LinkedIn, but they haven't taken the time to organize their connections. So what's the next way to get it done? Well, the next way to get it done is insane. It's to sit here and go through and hand select each of their connections. Oh, he's a business owner. He's a business owner. He's a business owner, which ends up taking hours. And then they make mistakes, and they double select people, and people get mad. They're getting 2 of the same emails. So my point is one of the biggest, let's face it, LinkedIn, it all sounds great, right? But the reality is if you don't know what you're doing, it can take up a lot of time. And that was kind of one of the things I was trying to promote with today's webinar. I said, hey, look, this boot camp is going to try to teach you how to be efficient. And, I think that the problem, the real reason a lot of people aren't getting to the next level with LinkedIn is because there's a lot of little things you got to do. And it can be time-consuming initially to get everything set up correctly, to have a system in place. But once you do that, then you can get to the next level efficiently. If you don't do that, then you find yourself fooling around, wasting hours and getting no results. And that's what happens to a lot of people, and then they give up. And then I call them 2 years later and say, hey, you using LinkedIn? And they say, nah, LinkedIn stinks. I didn't get any results with that. But the guy didn't know what he was doing. He wasted hours, he got burned out, and then he gave up. And unfortunately, as I tell everybody, you can't give up on social media. It's getting stronger and more powerful every day. You know, the second you give up, you might as well be one of those people who didn't want to use email back in 1999, because that's what you're going to end up becoming, because the world, it's just all transitioning where this is all getting incorporated into everything. And as I tell all my clients, I personally don't even like social media. It creeps me out. But there's no denying its power, and there's no denying how many people use it. So let's learn how to organize our connections. And it's not that difficult. It's just having kind of a system in place. So I've pulled up a gentleman here, and I'm going to use him as an example because he has not done anything, and he'll be a good example. So what you want to do is go to your profile, and you want to click on Connections, okay? And you'll see all of his connections here. And what I would suggest you do is do what I did before. Click on the recent conversation and select New. And this will kind of pull up your connections in an order that you connected with them, okay? So what we want to do is set up folders that we're going to put these people in. To set up the folder, go under the first person's name and click the Tag button. And you'll see that LinkedIn gives us a few, we'll call them default folders: classmates, colleagues, friends, group members, partners. I want you to click on Manage Tags, okay? And what it does is it lets you see these folders. We're not going to use any of these. We're going to click on the pencil to change them. So we're going to create a folder called Business Clients, right? And we're going to click on a folder called Individual Clients. And then we're going to create a folder. Now, the more folders you can create and the more specific these folders can be, the better. Absolutely the better. Because it's going to help you market later on. Let's call this one Business Prospects. All right, so you guys get the point. You come in here, you can create as many folders as you want. Now, here's an important thing to understand. We're going to go through each connection, and we're going to put them in folders. You can definitely put them in multiple folders if you want. I mean, I get that question all the time. Well, the guy's an individual client and a business client. Great, put them in both folders. No problem. But here's a trick. Here's one of these kind of things that, if you get any value out of today, this is valuable because no one's going to tell you this. When you put the people in a folder, you only can put 50 people in each folder. LinkedIn has a rule that says you can only send a mass message to 50 people at once, right? I mean, you could easily have just selected everybody and sent a message to everyone in one blip if it was only so easy. LinkedIn only allows you to send messages to 50 people at once. So when you're making these folders, make sure you keep it at 50. Once you get to 50 people in a folder, then it's time to create that second folder called Business Clients 2, okay? So what you want to do is go through your connections and look for your business clients or whatever you've named them. So let's just say these first 3 people are business clients. All I'm doing is putting a check next to their name. And then I'm clicking the Tag button up at the top. And now it pulls up my folders, right? So I'm going to click Business Clients. And now what happens is it puts a little, I don't want to say dog tag, but that's what it looks like. It puts a little tag under these people. So now I know these people are in a folder. So what you guys want to do, and this, there's no way around it, guys. I'm not going to lie. If you have not done this ever, and you have 1,000 clients, it's going to take some time to get this done. There's no way around it. But the value, I can't even tell you the value. So what you probably want to do is you don't want to burn out. You don't want to be sitting there and doing it all in one day. You probably want to do like 20 connections a day and get them all in there. And once you get good at it, they'll go faster. So once you get to that point, you want to tag all the people, okay? What that then allows you to do, and we're about to kind of take a quick break here and talk and take some questions. But what that allows you to do here is send out these mass messages. And maybe this is the time to answer some questions. So let me see. A few have come in. If anyone wants to talk, please feel free to raise your hand. If anyone wants to write a question, please feel free to type it up, and I'll certainly try my best to answer it. So question here, it says, one more when it's time. Can you please speak more to the myth of people not wanting to connect because of competition? Okay, so that's a good question. And that's a question I've gotten a lot. People always say, you know, I get a lot of people asking to connect with me that are my competitors. And I just reject those competitors. I don't connect with them. No, I don't want to do that because they'll be able to see all the people who are my clients. That's the myth out there, that when you connect with people, that they're going to be able to tap into your profile and somehow steal your clients. That's completely, utterly false. It's absolutely false. That's not the case at all. When people are connected to you, they cannot see your client list, okay? Here's the way I look at it, and this is a good transition here to what we're talking about. People say, well, what is the value then of connecting with all these brokers? You know, they're my competition. Well, here's the value. Imagine as time goes on, opportunities occur where maybe you can be at the top of the pyramid, okay? Maybe you can become some sort of wholesaler of some product. Or the carrier comes to you and says, hey, you're getting a contract because you guys are the best and you're doing all this volume. And these other brokers are kind of wishing they had that. So my point is, maybe it's not such a bad thing to build a list of 200 local brokers, because now you can go onto LinkedIn, you can select those brokers, and you can send them a message that says, hey, look, are you guys wanting to sell you know, that new accident and critical illness plan? Well, if you want to have an alliance through our agency, you know, there's an opportunity. Or maybe it's just as simple that you only sell Medicare, and now you have a list of all these agencies that sell property and casualty and you know, all these other products, and you send them an email just saying, hey, look, I'm a Medicare specialist. I'm looking for opportunities to have an alliance. I mean, to me, that's just a no-brainer. I mean, yeah, maybe you won't get results, but does it hurt? No, of course it doesn't hurt. So my opinion is you want to get as many connections as possible, because when you connect with people, that gives you options. That gives you the ability to communicate with them for free. And that's a good transition to the next aspect of the training, which is the messaging tools. And the most common question, which is surely, you know, it's surely the best question anyone can say is, Ken, you just went through how to organize all my LinkedIn connections, and I have a headache listening to you because I know it's going to take a long time to get all those people organized. Why again am I going through this, you know, terrible headache? And so in layman's terms, couldn't I just send an email out to all these people? Why am I sending them a LinkedIn message? You know, doesn't email just make it easier? And that's a good question. But I think the answer is this. LinkedIn is different, and people are mesmerized by it, especially now. They pay attention to it. And what I have found, again, I'm kind of a marketing guy, what I have found, and I've done, make no mistake, I've done tests. My time is valuable. I don't have time to be fooling around here on LinkedIn if I'm not getting results. What I found is if I send out an email to 1,000 people, usually I get about a 35% read rate, okay? So 350 people tend to read it. I have found that if I send, I've done multiple tests over the last 5 years, if I send a LinkedIn message to those same 1,000 people, I get 750 people reading it, which is a 75% read-through rate. So that's an increase in 40%. So first question, well, why is that? Why are more people reading your LinkedIn message compared to your email? Well, I think one thing is people are very overwhelmed by email these days. Obviously, the amount of volume that comes in, just in spam alone, people are starting to tune it out. You know, it's not what it once was. And you know, I can tell you the story about the evolution of marketing. I mean, I don't want to waste too much time, but I'm a kind of a historian on marketing. We think about the salesman, right? He first started knocking on doors. That's how he got in front of people. Then he started to call on the phone, right? And with each thing, the consumer caught on. And what happened was it wasn't new anymore, and people kind of, so, you know, Now, if someone knocks on your door, you're probably hiding behind like your couch. Oh my God, it's a solicitor. Go away, please, right? And then with the phone, you know, obviously people now, if you get a phone call and it's a solicitor, boom, you hang up. I don't want to talk to that solicitor. Guy may have been giving you $1 million, but you'll hang up on him because he's a solicitor. And then it kind of turned into, we used to send out mailers, right, in the 90s, the 80s. And that was good. You used to get results. But now, when you go get the mail out of the mailbox, how many pieces of mail do you not even open up, right? And then it kind of turned to email marketing in the late 90s. And you got a lot of results with email marketing. But now, people just delete emails. They don't even read them, or they skim them. So I guess my point is this LinkedIn messaging, it's like the evolution of that. And I think once you start to understand that a LinkedIn message is kind of the same thing as a cold call used to be, like the light bulb goes off that, wait a minute, this is all the same thing. It's just what it's evolved to. So my point is the reason sending a LinkedIn message is so great is because people are fascinated by it. And so how does it actually work? So you send the message to them. What happens? They actually get an email that says, you have received a message from one of your LinkedIn connections. Most people, they open that second eye and go, oh, a message from one of my connections. This must be important. And they can read it on their email, or they can go into LinkedIn and read it. But my point is for whatever reason, people are fascinated by it, and they're more attentive to it. Whereas if you sent that email, it's just kind of like another solicitation. Let me ignore it. So that's what I have found, is that people are paying attention to it. So what that means is we absolutely have to try to harness that and take advantage of that and certainly utilize it to get more traffic to what we want to get them, get them to. So how do we do it? Well, once you've gone in and tagged all your connections, right, you got them organized, all you have to do is go in and click on, and let me just go back in here. All you have to do is go in here and click on Filter by Connections and select the Tag button. If you select the Tag button, and you can see I have tons of folders, right? Look at all these folders. I got them labeled all strategically. I got websites 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. I got F1, F2, F3, F4. So if I click on F1, what it'll do is it'll pull up all of my people in F1, okay? I click on F1. There's 48 people in this folder, by the way. You can see it right up here at the top. So I click on F1. I hit Select All. I hit the Message button. And then I copy and paste my message right in. And then I click on the little button here that says Allow Recipients to See Each Other. That makes sure it's blind copied. And I hit Send. And I repeat that. And I can send out probably 4,000 messages in 10 minutes, okay? And again, with a 75% read-through rate, I'm looking at what, 2,800 people reading my message? I'm getting results. Obviously, you don't want to do it every day. I would suggest on a quarterly basis. But there is results to get. But as you can see, it all goes back to the first thing I said when we came on today's webinar. I said, look, LinkedIn it's amazing what can be done. But there is so much little stuff that you have to do to be successful. So even if you went in and sent out these messages, if you really don't have the profile set up right, you're not going to get as many results as you would as the guy like me who's got the profile set up right. I got all my connections organized. I got a system for constantly adding connections. And I'm able to now efficiently utilize my connections and send them marketing. And you can see how important it is to organize your connections, because those folders, you want to make them detailed, because you never know what's going to happen in this insurance business. You know, if you can tap into, maybe like you said, maybe you are a full service shop. It would be nice to have your clients listed by health, life, auto, and commercial, so that you could send out, specific things to those specific products. And make no mistake, I have clients, they don't use LinkedIn so much to get new clients. They use it as a way to stay in front of their clients. They send out updates and announcements. And the reason they do that is they just know that people are paying attention. And that's kind of half the battle, and that's really where it comes down to. So let me kind of just transition here for the last few minutes and talk about a few other features you can utilize on LinkedIn, and then we'll call it a day because I think my voice is pretty much gone. Oh, you know what? Let me stop. I see some questions came in. Let me try to answer these so I don't kill any of your guys' momentum. Okay. First question is do we click the box to allow or not if we don't want to show it as a group email? Okay, so right off the bat, you want to make sure that there is no check in the box. Because if there is a check, it says allow recipients to see each other. Under no circumstances would I ever say let everyone see who it's going to. It just doesn't look good. You want it to be blind copied. That way people just don't even assume that it's going to multiple people. So always, it's going to default check it. So when you send the message, it will be clicked. Just go and unclick it and then hit send the message. And you can even attach files to this. And there's some pretty good stuff you can do. Okay, so next question is kind of similar. Can the people who you're messaging, can they see that other people are getting the message? Only if this box is checked. Okay, if it's unchecked, then it looks like it goes just directly to them. So that's important, and that's good for results. So make sure that, I guess the best way to put it is when you first do this stuff, just take your time, take a deep breath. There's no rush. Just make sure you do it right. And as you get better, you'll do it quicker. I mean, if you forget to check it, you forget to check it. The world isn't going to end. But you probably don't, if you can help it, make sure you uncheck it so people are getting blind copied. So I just want to kind of cover two quick things. And questions, sorry, more questions. Can you attach videos? Yeah, you can attach videos. You can certainly put the link right to YouTube. You can, if you have the video file, you can attach it. I don't know how big of attachment files you can have, but as always with marketing, you probably want to keep it pretty simple. What you probably want to do with these types of messages is drive them to like your website or to a landing page. You don't want to have too much in this message, and that's usually what let me rewind. What I personally use it for a lot is I will promote free webinars. I might even promote this boot camp I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And I'll send them to a landing page. And that way it's not too overwhelming. If the people are interested, they'll go to the website and learn more. Or they'll go back to my LinkedIn profile to learn more about me. The message itself is not going to be, the end-all killer. Anyway. So there's kind of two other things that are interesting. And I don't want to get too crazy because I could probably spend a whole day on each of them. But the first is having a company page. And let me see, I may even have a slide on this. Basically, everyone should probably have a company page. And the way you can create a company page is just go to your profile, click on interests, and click on companies. And what you'll see here on the right is a little button that says create a company page. Okay? And all you have to do is click on that button and hit create. And you put your company name in and your email address. Now, the number one thing, this is important, you are only allowed to create a company page if your email address is the same as your website. So if you have an AOL or a Gmail or an MSN, LinkedIn's not going to let you create a company page. You have to have like a ken@snoozyincorporated.com. That lets me create my Snoozy page. And the reason LinkedIn does that is they really want these company pages to be valid. So what does a company page look like? Well, here's an example of one. Maybe this isn't the best example. Hold on one second, guys. Basically, the company pages are very simple, and they kind of just give some good information about the agency. There's a little overview, a little picture, your website address, and you can certainly post on it as well. But at the end of the day, I'm a believer that you probably want to have a simple basic one. I didn't spend that much time on it today because I don't really think that from a marketing standpoint it's going to help you. I think if you don't have a page, it's not going to be crippling, but I think it's a nice thing to have, and I believe it does help your search engine optimization for your website. So you probably, again, I'm sure a lot of you guys have a lot of notes from today, and I'll send everyone the PowerPoints and all that stuff. I'm sure you have a lot to focus on with the personal profiles. To me, that's the priority. I would focus on the personal profiles and, certainly work on that. And, then if you have time and once you master it, then you maybe want to create a quick little company page. Because if people are Googling the company page, it's just another thing that shows up. It looks nice. And most importantly, who knows where this is going to go in the next 2, 3, 4 years. LinkedIn may change or add new features to this, which may make it better for marketing. I mean, these guys aren't stupid who run these companies. Right now, I don't see much marketing avenue with the company page, much more on the personal page, but who knows? So that's why it's always good to have these things and to put yourself in a position to potentially utilize them. So that being said, I'm going to kind of take some final questions here and then kind of call it a day. But what I will do after this webinar is I will send everyone the PowerPoint immediately. I am going to have my video guys cut up. I actually have been recording this. I will try to cut up the video and send it to you in 3 different sections. The profile setup, the tagging, and the messaging, so that you guys can go back in, watch it again, maybe look at some of the clicks I had. I mean, some of that stuff was confusing. Maybe that'll help you and hopefully be an asset to you. So let me kind of take some questions here, guys, and we'll get going. Let's see here. First question is a pretty good question. Should we be posting actively on our personal page? So one of the things I didn't really talk about was, actually posting things on the personal page. And if I click home, you can see that, these people have, a lot of my connections are posting, right? They're posting all this stuff. And, should you be doing that? It's a good question. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I honestly don't post that much on LinkedIn. I post a lot more on Facebook. I find there's more value there. I find people are more attuned to Facebook's news feed than they are to LinkedIn. But what I would suggest is if you ever are writing a blog or you have an update or something big, yeah, you should put it on LinkedIn. It's not going to hurt. But I don't think you want to be wasting that much time posting content. I think you want to waste more time on getting connections, organizing your connections, and individually messaging your connections. I think that's the best way to go. And I think that's certainly going to be more of a better idea. Next question here is from Tom. He's just asking, Ken, what about LinkedIn groups? I've joined a few groups, never gotten much out of them. I've heard people have created their own groups and gotten results. What's the story about creating your own group? Well, Tom, it's a good question. And, I really didn't touch on that much because, again, that's kind of like a whole nother world, and it's a whole nother strategy, and I just didn't want to overwhelm everyone. But, basically LinkedIn does let you create groups. And all you have to do is click on, again, interests and click on groups. And, I've had some groups that have been very successful. I have this one group called Insurance Agents Social Media Tips. And each month I offer kind of some tips on how to use social media. And you can see them here. I got tips for improving your agency, tips for getting more Facebook fans. And long story short, over the last 3 years, I've attracted 5,000 members, and I've done nothing. It's grown organically. So, the thing that most insurance agents say is, well, that's great. You got all these people joining your group. I'd love to create a group and try to sell them insurance. It sounds good, but I think the reality is nobody's going to join a group unless they're getting some value from you. My group has grown because I'm offering social media tips, and there's people out there that want the tips, especially if it's specific to the insurance industry. I've never been able to answer the question, what could an insurance agent create? What type of group could they create that the consumer is going to see it as valuable and want to join the group? I don't know. If I could answer that, I'd probably make a lot of money. I think the best solution is if you do want to try to create a group, maybe you just start with something local and you just try to get business owners in there. And, it's more of a connecting type thing. I wouldn't try to solicit products, though. I think immediately, once you start doing that, people leave the group. All right, guys. I think we're done here. Hopefully I did a good job and gave you some good information. Any feedback you can email me would be appreciated. Let me email you this PDF today, and then I will send this video shortly after, and then we'll go from there. So I appreciate your time today. We got through it pretty good, and hopefully this gave you some things to think about. Have a great day, and I'll talk to everyone soon, I hope. Bye-bye.